Greeting Nerd fam, and welcome back to our 10-year anniversary celebration of the Google Kubernetes engine. My name is Savannah Peterson, coming to you from our Palo Alto studios today with a very special guest to give poignant advice for those anxious in the C-suite and making decisions about their AI infrastructure right now. Dave, thank you so much for coming and spending the time and honestly just having such a great conversation with me as we were getting warmed up today.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
It is such a joy. We've worked in the peripheral of each other for quite some time now, so this conversation is super overdue. To get us started, you just mentioned something to me that really struck a chord, and I agree with it. You said, the dream has come true. What does that mean for Kubernetes right now?
That's how I really felt at KubeCon this year, is the dream coming true, meaning, as Kelsey Hightower has always described it, the original dream was a platform to build platforms where your platform could disappear eventually. And we, the first 5 years of the Kubernetes market, it was, this is really complex technology. I need a PhD to learn it. And once I hire enough people, I'll be able to use it. Now what we saw at the show this year is Kubernetes is able to disappear and be the substrate under AI innovation, whether it's a development team deploying apps with AI or a business team deploying a globally scalable web app. We have everything running on Kubernetes next to each other, long-running intense, like machine learning jobs, next to huge, tiny little mobile e-commerce and website applications, all sharing that same foundation. And with our autopilot work, plug for GKE, all turned on autopilot so that people don't have to worry about the underlying infrastructure.
And that's what people have always wanted, not just with Kubernetes, but with containers, is to decrease complexity and really be able to run exciting stuff at scale. What were you most proud of walking around at KubeCon?
I think we're focusing on the right things right now with GKE, but not just Google. I was most proud of the community is focusing on the right things. First, all about safety and security of the underlying platform. So nobody's going to roll out AI if we can't give them a secure foundation. So features like the agent sandbox are a way to control all of these hundreds or thousands of agents that we expect to be talking to each other, running tools on our behalf, making decisions on our behalf. We can now do it in a safe environment. And we did it with the open source community. So that's open source. All the tools that data scientists use, Ray and is a great example. Again, open source, used by everyone. So a machine learning team can now come to Kubernetes, interface with the tools they know and love, not know anything about Kubernetes. And things like Slurm for orchestration, right? All the open source tools, the community is building them together. And I think what we've proven out, at least the way I look at it at Google, is we don't have to build proprietary software to start to succeed.
Yes. Yeah, well, you've illustrated that in a few ways. But
the community has really massively succeeded without any one vendor dominating the way forward. We haven't slowed down our commitment to Kubernetes, and I don't think we will. And one of the other things I was proud of is we made a decision, so many years ago now, to build all of the new innovative Google Cloud services on Kubernetes. So the whole Vertex AI and Vertex AI Studio runs internally. No one is a tougher customer than another business unit at Google.
I can imagine.
So it has taken, we are stretching in one direction with massive scale for the kind of workloads we have to support for Vertex, and then stretching in the enterprise direction with safety, security, governance, and controls. The third thing I was proud of is cost optimization. So everybody at the show in the whole community is now focused on accelerators are expensive. We know that. GPUs, GPUs. Companies can't go into another cycle of, like we did in the cloud, oh, let's just use all this stuff. Whoops, it's really expensive. Cloud is too expensive. Let's go back and pull it into our data center. Now, people are upfront saying, I want my provider to give me the tools to optimally use this and do cost visibility, cost governance, cost optimization right in the platform.
And have the ability to toggle that based on their needs. You don't need, no company right now, frankly, that I'm aware of, is using a GPU at full capacity every second of the day.
No.
Or leveraging their TPU and their CPU in a similar way. The reality is there are tools, and this is why I know you and I are both such big fans of the open source community and the Kubernetes community specifically, is you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to build everything internally. And in fact, to your point in our earlier dialogue, you don't even need to understand how to develop on Kubernetes at this stage. You can just know that you have a goal in mind and come leverage your toolkit and implement it.
The community is building the plumbing.
Right.
The community is worrying about that stuff together so that you, as not just an enterprise buyer or builder of AI solutions, but all the vendors in the community, we can differentiate where it matters, which is experience, security, governance, and controls.
And you do that well. You've done that. You're a very trusted brand in that space. One thing that's been really interesting in my role the last 3 years is the uncertainty or the facade of confidence, depending on who I'm talking to, when it comes to the really heavy burden of some of the AI decisions that executives and team leads are having to make right now. It's expensive. It's can be tricky to know which proof of concepts to even execute, let alone to then achieve scale. Give me your top 3 pieces of advice for teams navigating this, and just know that we empathize with you all out there. We're all thinking about it as well.
And I spent 10 years as an industry analyst. And so my job was to try to take the fear out of emerging technologies, which always, especially the largest enterprise IT organizations that are really good at what they do, being told, sorry, everything you're good at, now we have to shift it all to AI.
Right.
I think this year we are finally moving more toward less AI as a feature and more AI-driven workflows, right? So I would say start with a friction analysis. Don't start evaluating the AI stack and the AI tools yet. Do a friction analysis in your company and look at least 3 constituents. You know, your development teams building your applications, your business teams running business process, and I would also add your business partner teams. How you interact with your partners, whether it's suppliers or logistics or medical suppliers, right? And then the third would be your own IT organization. Ask, what would it really help if I had an assistant do for me today? And think of these new AI agents more as assistants that will help you change your culture to AI-first workflows, right? We've all been using it at work now, right? We've all seen the power of AI to really synthesize and analyze information really quickly.
Yeah.
What we haven't yet seen is what it's going to be like when we're working alongside agents based on AI. So start with those 3 teams, do a friction analysis, and pick no more than 2 to 3 pilots, right?
Yeah.
And then when you kick off the pilots, do it with a tiger team. Do what we did for cloud computing, an AI innovation team. It's an exciting thing to be part of, right? Start with your internal teams. Let them, they understand your business better than anyone else, and more importantly, they understand your data better than everyone else. One thing that I think was really clear at the show too is AI is only going to be as good as the enterprise data that we can ground it in. So if you don't want a hallucinating chatbot to go off and make bad decisions for your customers, make sure it's grounded in your data. So data governance, data controls, and data quality are super important this year.
Who would you, and you're absolutely right, I concur with everything you just said. Who would you put on that AI tiger team within an organization? Would you let people self-select? Is there a particular DNA that you've seen be particularly successful?
Head of architecture, head of development, and head of IT operations to start with, right? Because they understand the friction in your internal processes. Then I would add to the team at least one person who is responsible for designing your customer experience, whether it's your web or mobile app, whether it's something else like that. Whether it's the person that is responsible for how you interact with customers. In my 10 years as an analyst, nothing was true every year about technology, but what was true every year about technology, customer experience is king. So I would rotate on something that improves customer experience versus something that just optimizes an internal process. Right, Bobby mentions his
I
magic,
would say that's so
his
well stated.
his magic croissant moment. You know,
Yeah.
Bobby likes to, when you, that moment we've all had where you see AI really open up something new where you didn't think you could do before. So when you're designing these new AI-enabled workflows, it's not just what are my stumbling blocks today, but what could I do if I didn't have to do this? And
Yes.
that's what I think we design for. We design for humans. It's a culture shift within organizations. Don't look at AI as another technology stack that is disrupting the technology stacks you are already good at. AI is riding on the same technology stacks you're already incredibly good at. Right? Focus more on making sure that AI to your employees is a trusted advisor and a trusted tool, not a person. I really want to advise companies to avoid assigning too much human agency to what is a technology platform, right?
Yes.
And so I think that's what I'm excited about, is that one thing at Google, to give a plug for something that goes all the way back to the beginning of Google, our mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, not just information for information's sake. And I think when you look at the approach we took at KubeCon, what we said is from containers to agents, a unified platform for modern workloads. And that's a very techie pitch piece, but what it's saying is you don't need a new platform. You can start experimenting right now and trust that when you get to the scale of some of our largest model builders, we've already gotten there for you. When you start using AI in some of your more compliant workloads,
right,
we've already done the upfront work to secure and govern those components. And finally, when you're ready to deploy these things at scale all over the world, we're ready for you there as well. So I see it sort of as a rubber band in the AI market right now, right? The huge model builders and our largest customers, you know, from Apple to Anthropic, you know, are stretching the envelope and pulling us out to the maximum what we can do. So we announce huge scale, you know, like 150,000 nodes, you know, that's an incredible amount of processing power. You're not going to get there yet, but if you pin the rubber band there, you can pull the whole organization up faster alongside once you do that initial launch, because we're trying to pave a path that you can very quickly accelerate on.
Yeah.
If you keep your focus on what makes your employees or your customers' lives easier with AI.
I think that was beautifully stated. I think I like that. What I'm hearing from you is essentially ask the right questions in that room more than anything. And I would even take it a step further than what you just said and say, not just what would we do if X, Y, or Z, what would we do if we could do anything?
That's right.
What would we, and then figure out the solution, because the reality is, even if it's not particularly possible today, it might be possible tomorrow. And that's not even an exaggeration. That's the velocity of innovation. And particularly working with partners like you have the ability to meet your customers where they are at the, quite literally at the edge or at the bounds of technology's reach right now. And it's pretty exciting. You said something also earlier to me that that resonated, because I've heard this analogy almost too many times recently, which is that people often compare where we're at with AI to the early days of the internet. You brought it more into our hands and said it's more like the early days of the mobile phone. Talk to me more about that.
I think it's because the early mobile revolution meant in our personal lives, we looked at this thing and look what I can do with this. And then we'd go to work and we'd put it down and we'd say, and this is what I have at work. Right? And that's why AI is the same way. We're using it here. People need to use it at work. They're going to want to bring it to work with them. So I think that's a real benefit in terms of the general public getting really confident that they can trust AI. And we have to overcome some trust issues with AI moving forward as an industry. But then when we're ready, it's going to be very comfortable then to use it at work, right? And that's what mobile did that I think is different. I've been in the tech industry for so long, and it's only been in the past 15 to 20 years that I think the general public understands technology the way technologists did in the 90s, right? It was a small group of people that understood all this stuff, and
Yes.
now a lot of people do. So I think that it's also a nice time to go back and look at your employees across the organization, not just those in technology, because really good ideas for technology innovation are now coming from marketing, from logistics, from customer experience teams, from sales.
Yeah.
And it's a great time to re-engage with your business partners if you're a technology leader. Stop asking, what is AI, right? We need to move past trying to define it. It's clear today that the power of large language models really are energizing the agentic future. Very few companies, I think, are going to directly interact with building their own models, right? They'll augment their own models, and they're going to make it work for their business. And the only way to make it work for your business is to bring people onto your AI innovation team that aren't your Kubernetes experts, right? That are your business process experts.
Yes. And the people doing the business. I think it really has to transcend seniority lines right now too, because folks may have incredible use cases that
That's right.
aren't a part of, just because it's not a part of my workflow doesn't mean it's not a part of someone else's, and it could rapidly improve morale or output or any of those things.
Absolutely. It can make you feel like a superhero.
Yes.
At work, right?
Yeah.
If you approach it the right way. Like, compared to the early days of cloud, a lot of IT organizations saw cloud computing as a threat to what they were really good at. And some of the early marketing around AI in the industry a couple of years ago made it seem like the same kind of threat, you know? It's going to take my job. And I really don't think that's going to happen. For the next couple of years, at least, I think it's going to make people feel like they have superpowers at work. And what we're trying to do with the platforms is make people be able to experiment with those superhero powers safely, without, you know, endangering customers or endangering their company's standing in the world.
The brand.
Safety of exactly. It's brand protection. If I was a CEO right now, the thing I'd be the most worried about is a rogue agent doing something that you know, hurts the brand.
Absolutely.
And so safety of design and long-term testing, and I think the role that we can play at Google is meeting companies where they are. You might not care about the infrastructure stack at all.
Yeah.
Start with Vertex.
Yeah.
Start your experimentation there, full access to all the models. Leave the decision of GPU versus TPU versus CPU for this underlying thing to down the road, once you've proven it out.
Yeah, I think you don't have to know the answer. And heck, there could be a new chip out by the time you
Absolutely.
come to the conclusion of what you need in terms of designing your architecture. No, I think that's great advice. You've mentioned a couple examples, but what would you say that AI is good for or should be used for, and what shouldn't it be used for?
Ha ha ha. I think AI today in corporate America should be used to help your employees and your customers feel like they're having a delightful experience at work and interacting with your company. And so what it means for your employees is the sort of superhero skills that I say. I feel kind of like a superhero even internally at Google sometimes when I can do some information synthesis much faster than I ever was able to before. What I don't like is when people treat AI like a person. It's not a therapist. It's not your best friend.
Yeah.
So remember that it's a tool, an incredibly powerful tool.
And remember that it's just a bunch of code behind that.
Exactly. It's a computer program.
Yeah, there's no heart there.
A really incredible one.
Sophisticated.
You know, over the past 100 years, every technology that's sufficiently advanced looks like magic. It feels like magic. And that's going back to what we were talking about before. When we put it in people's hands on their phones now, we don't get to control it in the IT world.
Yeah.
So we have to, we can't control how the general market might look at AI. What we can control is how our company uses it to improve the lives of our employees and our customers. That's what I would say.
Well, that was a perfect note to close on. Dave, thank you so much. This has been a true joy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely,
appreciate
anytime.
it. See you at the next KubeCon,
My
I hope.
pleasure. Yes, absolutely. We've got to keep our numbers the same. We're both at 9, entering our
Exactly.
double digits as KubeCon attendees. Which, normally I would feel dated by saying that, but I'm proud to be a part of the community, and I'm grateful for everyone. Awesome. Well, thank all of you for tuning in to our exclusive series here celebrating the 10-year anniversary of GKE and all things Kubernetes community. My name is Savannah Peterson. You're watching theCUBE, the leading source for enterprise tech news.